the library because I want to show you something.
During the weekend.
So the next demo I do after this one next class, I'm going to start using the user library because I'm going to assume that you guys will have it coded. But for now, I'm still going to use it manually, so I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to use my transmit message function, so you can test this at home, and the delays function as well. So what I want to do after this configuration, I deleted the arrays and all that because I don't need them for now. I want to configure my blue button and user LED LD4. Okay? So, the first thing I want to do for my user LED, so what do I need to do? So I need to configure what? PA5, right? Why PA5? Because the user LED is PA5. Now, if I decide to connect the other board that I gave you to a different pin, then for sure. PA5 as output. How are we going to do that? GPIO underscore init output. Oh. Init output GPIO A pin 5. Done. So the library works beautifully for that. Then, which one is the blue button? PC13, excellent. PC13 as input. So then I do GPIO init inputs, GPIO A, C, 13, right? I have to double check that my GPIO C is enabled, connected to the clock. Is not, see? That wouldn't work. So RCC pointing to IO, whatever, or equals RCC underscore IO, whatever, underscore GPIO C enabled. Okay? So that enables GPIO C. Okay? And I'm going to do something very simple. I'm going to say if GPIO read which one do you think I'm going to read? Any ideas? Let's see if you're following. Which pin am I going to read?
Still catching up.
Input, right? PC13. Yeah, because that's my button, my blue button. And I'm going to say, if it's pressed, well, I'll find out if that press is correct or not. If it's pressed, GPIO underscore set, GPIO A, 5. Otherwise, GPIO clear. Okay? So basically I want to have the LED on when the button is pressed and off when it's not pressed. Is this going to work? Can anybody tell me you think this is going to work?
Yes.
It is going to work? Let's give it a try. The LED is on. When I press the button, it goes off. When I release it, it goes on. So it's doing the opposite. Why? Why is it doing the opposite?
It should be equals to 0 for the condition.
No. If I do this, equals,
Or 1.
Oh, so you're trying to say if it's, okay. But why?
In GPIO.c I use like return 0 and 1 for button. So if it's 0, it will be pressed, or otherwise.
Yeah, but why would be pressed when it's 0? Why?
It's because of the condition, like if else I use.
But where do I find that answer? Like if somebody challenges you and say, I don't believe you, how can how can you make them aware that that's the case? You're right. What you're saying is right, but how can you demonstrate it? How? Where do we need to go? Board schematics. We need to find the button. Blue button is here. Now my question is this blue, and we discussed this like within the first couple of weeks. Is this blue button active high or active low? Active low. When I press the button, this goes down. When I release it, it pulls up. That's why it's got that pull up. So the button has a reverse logic. Why? Because they want to make your life more difficult, of course. The obvious thing to do here would be to make it active high so everybody can understand, especially the ones that are starting to learn this stuff, right? Well, normally you could do this through a transistor. If you do it through a BJT and you drive it in cutoff and saturation, then you can reverse the logic. But you can definitely, instead of doing a pull up, you can do a pull down. And guess what? In case you are not aware, the boards that I gave you, they are all active low as well. Yeah, they're not active high. So reading a 1 means actually not pressed. Okay? And that is why this thing works reverse. So what I need to do is what On said, make it equal 0, or just add a not at the beginning, which I like better, but it's more confusing, I agree. Yeah, but I like to be confusing sometimes. So now if I change that, now my button is off, right? If I press, it's on. If I release, it's off. Okay? Now, here's where things start to become interesting. Looking at this code, let's say that demonstration that I did. I'll do the demonstration again. Press the button, the LED goes on. Press the, release the button, the LED goes off. Now, when I just turn on the LED, can anybody tell me how many times did the LED go on? You saw it coming on once, right?
Well, how long did you press down on it?
Excellent. That means that he's following. Is everybody else following what he just said? Visually, you saw the LED coming on once and then coming off when I released the button, right? But the question is, while I had the button pressed, how many times was the LED being set?
We don't know currently. We can find out.
Right?
It's just one.
You can also increase the delay so you can actually see it visually.
Yeah, for sure. But what I want you to become aware is that this button became many times on. So many times went on. But if you have one of those toggle switches, because this one won't work, because this one is push. So if I push, this is like a true toggle switch. Right? Whereas the one I have at home, I'm not sure exactly what they're called, but
Dimmer
like this.
switch.
Yeah, you turn on, and then if I turn on and turn on and turn on, nothing changes. Right? So if I keep pressing the on, it stays on. So, yeah, this makes me remember those very old computers. I had a professor back home in Chile who used to say, when you give a computer to someone who's not really IT, savvy, whatever, tech savvy, we'll go to the very slow computer and try to open Word, Microsoft Word. Then doesn't see coming up. Then he opens it again, and then again, and again. And then after, eventually, the computer responds,
30 times.
and you have like 30 words. Right? Yeah, that's really bad. But in this case, it won't happen. You will see the LED on. But effectively, you're turning it on so many times. Is that efficient?
No.
Not really. But we don't care because at this point we're just starting. But I want you to understand that this is happening multiple times. Okay? Now, for the same reason, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to repeat this code. I'm going to comment out that. So now, if the button is detected as pressed, because this is pressed, right? So let's just put a comment here. Button is pressed. Because it's active load. Okay? If the button is pressed, I want to toggle the LED now. So I can actually turn it on and off with a button press. Okay? And I'm going to do it. Press, 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 press. How responsive is that? Come on. It's terrible, right? Do we agree that it's terrible?
Yes.
It's not doing what I want it to do. Why? Because of the same thing. It's toggling, but it's toggling multiple times. So if I'm lucky enough, I'm going to be able to go from on to off and vice versa, if I'm lucky enough. But it depends how much time this thing is doing this over and over and over, and then when I release the button, then eventually it's going to do what I want.
Huh.
So how can I solve this problem without adding a delay? Just being said.
I just figured it out. It looks like I can press the button as many times as I want, and it's very responsive.
Okay, but can you effectively toggle it on and off?
Yeah.
And what do you do? Oh no, but that's just press and release, right?
Like
I want it to
one
toggle.
press.
Like press, go on and stay on, and then press again, go off and stay off.
I understand.
Yeah, that's what I want to do with this. What part am I missing? Is there any way that I can toggle the LED just on the first time that the button is detected pressed?
Yes.
How?
That's all.
How can you do it? It gets solved with code. Yeah, purely with code. But what do I need? How can I effectively detect the button when it's just pressed and nothing else? Nothing after that. Use a variable to track the state of the switch.
Add a flag.
A flag, yeah. So I'm going to define here a uint 8_t, and please note that I'm defining all my variables inside main. So only when it's needed we will declare global variables. Declaring global variables is a very bad practice, so we should avoid it. Okay? I don't know if you've been told that in the other programming courses. I'm going to call this one press. And I'm going to initialize it to 0. Okay? So, the first time that the button is detected, well, whenever the button is detected, press, I'm going to do this. If not pressed, so meaning that the variable is, that happens the first time. If it's not pressed, toggle the LED. And what else? Well, set now press to 1, so it doesn't happen again. Okay? But now I need to do the else part. Well, not necessarily, but if I want to track both cases. Now, in the else part means button not pressed, okay? Now this thing of press and press not press is probably I should change this to just press. So it's more semantic, more self-explanatory. Okay? So if the button is detected not pressed, so it's inactive. So I would say, well, if it's pressed, set it to not pressed, right? Otherwise, otherwise nothing. Okay, so now I'm keeping track of the variable because I need to reset the variable back to 0, right? So it can actually happen. So that's why I need this in the else part. Let's try this now. Now, if this doesn't work 100%, then the problem is due to the bouncing of the button, which is something different. It's a physical thing. It has to do with electrical stuff.
Yeah, we'd have to debounce it.
Yeah, but that's something different. But in this case, we should solve at least 95% of the problem. So I press it, comes on. See? I press it again, comes on. I press it again, comes on. I press it again, comes on. Now, this is reacting on the button being pressed, right? How can I make it so it reacts when the button is released?
Interesting.
Reverse.
Yeah, it's as simple as just moving this over.
GBRE, GBOC.
Put it in here. And what I want to do then, add a comment here and say button just pressed. And here I'm going to say button just released. Oops. All right.
Yeah.
Now the button is off. I press it. Nothing happens. I release it. Ooh, nothing happens either. What the heck?
I think you forgot one of the columns.
I forgot something? Oh, this one is
Yeah.
breaking my system. This one, because it goes back on, right? Oh, and this one cannot be commented out, otherwise it won't work. Okay, there you go. So I just needed to move the toggling part. The rest needs to stay. Press, nothing happens, release, goes on. Press, nothing happens, release, goes on. Now there's a more sophisticated way of doing this with a state machine for the button. I can show you that approach later. It's more complicated. Actually, just keeping track with one variable is good enough. This is the simplest approach.
Is that in like the library of the micro? The state of the button?
No, actually, it's not.
Oh, we have
No,
to-
we could add it for sure. We could add it. Yeah, you could probably build into your library something that is detected only once or something like that. That's when the state machine becomes useful. So I'll show you the different way. For now, we can just keep track with a simple loose variable. Well, I'm gonna move this back to the press here. So I'm gonna uncomment it, but I'm gonna leave the other one. So, and I'm gonna add something else. And with this, I finish. I'm gonna say transmit message. Use R2. And what do you think I'm gonna say here? Button press. \n \r. I think \n is good enough for that. Is that correct? I think so. Yeah, it's just that it's not recognizing it as an array, but that should work. Oh, but the press is here, not here. I'm going to say button release. Button press, button release, button press, button release. It works pretty well. Obviously, if you were not handling the states, you will be seeing like 1,000 button press and 1,000 button release, right? Yeah, so In fact, when you release it, it will just keep saying button release. Okay, so that's how you effectively track the state of a button. Any questions? With what we have up to this point, we can release the assignment 1 and the lab 1. Sorry, assignment 1. Assignment 4 and lab 1, and that will be what we need for the exam. Assuming that we're going to ask the user in the exam, which may not be the case, depending on how you guys do. I know that you're following, you're recording the lessons, but I don't know how many. I'm still getting like very few checkoffs, so that is a bit concerning. You need to practice, you need to do the work, otherwise you won't be able to process all this. Okay? All right, that's it for today. So I can do checkoffs then. And I think actually was. I'm gonna push this.